Hey Graham, what's up? Man, you got in here fast. Dang, man. That's dedication. All right, let me let everybody on Facebook know I'm live. Dang. A little bright. Let's bring our treble down a hair. Oh yeah, need to update our commands. Get our guitar command and pedal commands updated. Come on, Cloudbot. There we go. Alright, let's see. Tonight, guitar is the old Parker Fly Deluxe. And pedals. I don't need to change too much on pedals. Pedals right now, just a How Rumble mod. Which is just kind of a low to medium gain overdrive. Slightly darker reverb. Get the stream pulled up in the other browser. But yeah, if you try putting those, like if you're trying to make quad coils out of hot rails, you're going to run into the issue where like the routing in that SG type body that you have is set up for like Gibson style humbuckers, which will have a bobbin with two tabs sticking out on the side. The hot rails type pickups both have rounded edges that are going to stick out farther, so you would actually have to route out probably some more wood to get two hot rails to fit into that cavity, at least on the ends here, like the ends of the coils. So they may not fit by default. And then stacking them together as humbuckers is probably going to make them a little muddy sounding. Because I've played a few quad coil pickups like that, like Kramer made them for a while, where they had like two rail mini humbuckers stacked together as one giant humbucker, and they get pretty murky sounding. Then you got to learn to wire them too. Oh yeah, if you got a Dremel, like if you're good with a Dremel tool or even a pin router, you can route pretty easily, but it's also easy to go through on an SG body like that that's pretty thin. A lot of people will route a little too deep and then suddenly come through the back of the guitar. A little short delay too here. Oh, this guitar might be a little bright for my taste tonight. Well, I mean, there's lots of ways to do that. I mean, there's so many different types of pickups that you can put in there. You know, even going from like vintage style, Gibson style humbuckers to more modern, hotter humbuckers, you're going to get a different sound. But, you know, then you can get Gretsch style humbuckers to stick in there. You can get, you know, humbucker style single coils like P90s or Giant Strat style single coils. There's all kinds of stuff you could do without necessarily having to route or make any serious mods. Let's get warmed up here. Hands are feeling a little sluggish. Let's get in mod view too. Dang, boy. Thank you so much for that. We actually haven't had a Cheers in a while. Kind of forget they're a thing. But thank you so much for the support and for keeping the Discord going. You always got something to chat about in there. Cheers are like a penny for one cheer or something like that. I don't know. Something like that. But, you know, I appreciate any support you guys are willing to give it. Hey, Alec, what's up, dude? Too far. A little more reverb. I mean, there are a lot of settings in recording software that you need to look into. And they've got a lot of options now too, where you know, you can get different plugins and things with different IRs to emulate different amplifiers and speaker responses and things, which make it sound a lot more natural going straight in. usually running directly in tends to sound like really, 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 really bright and crispy. In some cases, depending on the input threshold on the input you're running into in the sound card, it can kind of clip and get kind of gnarly and distorted. Yeah, sloppy tonight. Yeah, if you're using the Rocksmith cable, then you'll want to look for some kind of like amp plug-in. You know, I don't know if Audacity comes with any, but you'll want some kind of like amp style front end. Like inside the software itself, to give you more of a like an actual traditional guitar response. But yeah, something like any kind of like little preamp or box like that that has a DI on it will also help quite a bit generally, because it'll give you some ability to sort of sculpt and shape your sound before it hits the software. You'll generally still want to look for like some type of cab or speaker emulation or IR or impulse response in the software as well, though, to get kind of the effect of a speaker. Because unless the box itself already has cab emulation running straight in, even from a preamp type signal, tends to be kind of grindy and not terribly natural sounding. Yeah, those little zooms are really nice too. Some of their older stuff has a less than stellar reputation, but their more recent stuff has really been great. Like tons and tons of features, and pretty solid sounds for what they cost. Like, I mean, I know a lot of people who have tons and tons of pedals like I do that still work them into their rigs. My guitar is a little too low. Is my strap slipped? Yeah, my strap slipped down some. Doo-ba-da-doom. There we go. Max. Oh yeah, I was gonna check out. Let's see. I was gonna check out that link Alec posted last time about how to do stuff with points for our channel. Let's see. So let's go over here. So go to community. So we go to community, then we go to, I don't think it's here anymore. I think they moved it somewhere else. No, there it is. Okay. Customize points display. So we can put in our own image for points. And our own name. Think up some things. Get some things. Start brainstorming some stuff that might be appropriate for like a channel points image, and not just the booba. So we've got community challenges. We've got custom rewards. Which look like emoticon type doohickeys. Then we've got standard stuff, highlight, random sub emote, send a message in sub mode, unlock an emote, and modify an emote. So those are all default. Let's see what we could do. Reward name. Reward icon. So it looks like we could create, one I was thinking about was doing, let's say make me change guitars for however many points. I would say make me change amps, but that's too much work. What would be an appropriate point cost for something like that? For some reason, AutoMod didn't like your typo of accumulate. That's weird. Dang, son. Well, so it's something like that. With something like a like guitar change or an equipment change or something, would that be better as like one of these like community challenge type things where like a bunch of people have to donate points? Because otherwise, then you could just get, you know, you making me play the telly every single night, unless I priced it astronomically high. I mean, they'll work. Tellies will work for pretty much anything, but except if we make it to the Mario Kart tune tonight, we have to stick with something with 24 frets because a couple of the notes get really high. You'd be battling with Alec and Keep trying to make me play shredders. I mean, I guess we could do. I wonder if you can make it complex enough where you can make like a challenge reward trigger a poll, which will then have a choice of guitars or something on it. Or songs or stream themes or any number of things. Because we could make some stuff a little more dynamic, you know. If you guys donated enough points, we could just totally shift the night's theme to something else. Unless I hate it, and then points will have to become donations or something. Yeah, I mean, we could also set it so that we could have you guys, I guess it's kind of like voting essentially, but donate points to just pick a theme every week or something, to pick like one night a week. Make it like a semi-permanent thing. You know, every Friday night or something, everybody donates points to pick some theme for the next week or the next stream, or got lots of options, lots of ways we could approach it. Oh, that's a stretch. Your left hand span will definitely widen the longer you play. So here is my right hand. Here is my left hand in comparison. So I can definitely stretch quite a bit farther with my left hand. If you want him to stretch evenly, then you better start playing piano instead. Yeah, just learn to play both, play left-handed and right-handed. Ernie Isley did that. He got bored with playing right-handed and decided he wanted to go through the experience of learning new all over again to try to come up with new stuff to play. So he quit playing right-handed and started playing left-handed. Which is an interesting approach. Let's tweak our title a little bit. Let's see. Let's see. Maybe we should tweak our tags. So how many more can we put? Can we add? So OBS only lets me add 5. Here. No, nothing for that. Nothing for that. Nothing for that. I don't know. Not enough tag flexibility. We need more tags. Yeah, chill beats on the guitar. Just do this. Turn the reverb way up and go. Not yet, man. Not yet. Numbers just picked up a little bit though, because it's pretty much just been like Alec and Grimm so far. But usually takes a little while before we start seeing people. But yeah, I'm definitely putting in the thing we were talking about in the Discord about doing, like, you know, if you want to make a request, you got to follow, because we've had so many people come in and make requests that I've played for them and then just bail. I'm like, dang, man, kind of weak sauce. But how are you? I'm still really just getting warmed up anyway. Mic a little closer. Probably turn it up a hair too. Had to turn it down Wednesday because of the random squealing noises we were making. Yeah, man, you should always take some time when you go to practice and when you go to play. Take a few minutes to warm up, to just run like simple exercises. To start getting your hands kind of loosened up. And it's just like anything else. It's just like, you know, if you're exercising or going to play a sport or something like that. Your fingers are bleeding. I think you might have been going at it a little too hard, man. To get that consistent. Let's bring it in. Try to get the magnetics and the piezo balanced. Yeah, this is pretty typical of Ken Parker's headstock. You know, it's based on essentially like a harp aesthetically. There have been a few other makers that have done something somewhat similar. I think this one was actually inspired by a builder from the 1800s or early 1900s. This kind of general idea. But then there's a newer luthier named Robinson Guitars that does something similar, except his is actually made out of steel that's bolted on to the end of the neck. He makes really cool kind of like Jetsons-y, like retro future looking guitars. But Ken Parker still uses this headstock on his arch tops that he makes these days. You know, but the headstock itself is actually kind of a big conundrum, or a big sort of mechanical issue in guitar design, because you know, the guitar's neck is a cantilever. It's simply a beam supported on one end, and when the instrument vibrates, from the string vibrations being transmitted back and forth through the nut and through the bridge down here and moves, this thing's just kind of like flopping around out here. If you've ever played an SG, you know, and you've wiggled it like this, you'll actually hear the neck go wah, 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 or you can pull on the headstock and pull the pitch up. This guitar, because it's wrapped in carbon fiber and because the headstock itself is super minimal, doesn't suffer from that. Like, you don't get that shift in the neck from that happening, because the whole system is much more rigid. And ideally, for maximum rigidity, you actually want a headless system, like a completely headless system, because then there's nothing sticking out here to kind of try to pull away as the neck moves back and forth this way. Nothing to affect the way that it vibrates. If you've ever seen those fat finger things, those big clamps that they sell to clamp onto the end of a headstock to add mass, that's there to help counteract one of the problems that a headstock can create, which is the creation of dead spots. Because of its vibration fluttering out here, it can actually rob certain tones of the ability to sustain naturally. And adding mass via that fat finger, or there was also one that was like a brass plate that mounted to the back of the headstock, that shifts those dead spots potentially a little bit higher and in between frets, ideally, so that you don't land on them on the frequencies that occur on frets. But a headless system, as a rule, as long as the neck is designed well and is nice and stiff, will tend to almost completely eliminate the dead spot issue. And that's part of the advantage of having a minimal headstock like this, especially in the context of a super, super rigid guitar. So it's not just for aesthetics. It actually has like a functional reason for being. So this whole guitar, actually right under the paint, is wrapped in a carbon fiber skin. It's pretty much the only way you could get away with how thin it is at the neck joint too. I mean, like, it's crazy, crazy, crazy thin down here and contoured away. Otherwise, if it were just raw wood, it would be way too unstable. Parker guitars are really interesting. He was always kind of on the cutting edge, and I mean, this design as it is almost 30 years old, which is sort of crazy to think about. And he was making kind of prototypes and related things for many, many years beforehand. You didn't have to, Rusty. You didn't have to. Yeah. Don't I know it? My friend, one of my buddies, just sent me, apparently they brought back Dunkaroos from the 90s, from when I was a kid. And they brought back like a whole merchandise line, which has like 90s style bucket hats and windbreakers and stuff. And I'm like, really? Are we at the point where like my generation and slightly younger even are indulging in nostalgia? We're becoming boomers. Yeah, all the 90s kid, if you remember these, you're a true 90s kid memes are becoming reality. They've become capitalized. It's starting to get loosened up. The guitar world has sort of an interesting parallel to that, though. You know, throughout pretty much all of the late 80s, 90s, and 2000s, and really up until about 2015 or so, pretty much all anybody wanted in terms of guitar collecting was the true vintage stuff from the 50s and 60s, early 60s in particular. But then all the boomers started retiring and dying. And they kind of skipped over the 70s for the most part. There are a few 70s guitars that are particularly collectible, but for the most part, American guitars don't have a great reputation throughout the 70s. But now the 80s shredders are starting to go up in value because all the guys who were teenagers in the 80s are trying to buy all the guitars they couldn't buy back then. Which I've been collecting 80s guitars for years because you could get them for dirt cheap throughout like the 90s and 2000s. Because the true boomers didn't want them, you know, because Clapton didn't play them. And starting to see just kind of like the beginnings, the very beginnings of a movement for where like the Gen Xers and very early millennials, kind of like myself, are starting to be interested in collecting like the grunge era guitars, which were the offbeats, you know, the weirdos, the Jazz Masters and Jaguars and stuff like that. That all the grunge and alt rock guys played. And some boutique builders coming out with a lot more variations of those. So that'll probably pick up speed over the next decade. You know, I remember a music store I worked at in the early 2000s till about, I actually worked there for about 10 years. We had gotten in an early Jaguar in Olympic white with the red tortoiseshell pickguard. It wasn't mint, but it was pretty darn clean, had the original case. And I mean, we struggled for probably 2 years to sell that thing, and I think the owner wound up letting it go for like $2,000. You know, if you had it now, you'd double that overnight, if not more. But all those offsets and the oddball like non-Strat and Tele fenders were almost impossible to sell. But in the collector's market, that's actually had sort of a similar effect as to why those grunge guys were playing those in the first place. You couldn't afford the Strats and Teles, really, the vintage Strats and Teles. So you had to play Jaguars and Mustangs and stuff like that if you wanted an old Fender. And it's the same way in the collector market. You know, pretty much all of the vintage ones, like the 50s and 60s, so-called golden era Fenders and Gibsons, are gone. They're up in collections that, you know, won't be seen again for years, by and large, and will be massively overpriced when they do reemerge. So if you want a vintage Fender for a reasonable price, you got to go for one that's, you know, less popular. which has now started to drive up the prices of those. Yeah, Mustangs have definitely come back. There are several companies making variations of Mustangs now, which, like, Mustangs were even worse. We had several old Mustangs, 60s Mustangs come through, and you couldn't get more than $500 for them in the early 2000s. We actually even had one from the very first year, which I think was 59, maybe, something like that, which was like a sort of a white color with the anodized gold pick guard, and it was close to mint with the case, and I think we sold it for like 8. Well, Mustangs are pretty peculiar, though. Like, I probably couldn't play a Mustang with any regularity because they're so small and the scale is so short. They're just way too cramped up. Plus, I tuned it, strung it high and played it like a tenor guitar or something. Like, you need to play them, same thing with Music Masters and Broncos and stuff like that. You need to play them to see if you're comfortable with them. I'm super tall and have super long arms and big hands, so the Mustang is pretty much the opposite of what I'm looking for. Jaguars at least have full-size bodies. The scale's a little short. It's somewhat shorter than a Les Paul would be. But I do prefer the full scale of the Jazzmaster. Yeah, I always take 2 guitars. You never know. Even my most reliable guitars, I'll take something else just in case. You break a string, you don't want the downtime, even though I can change a string in most cases super fast. You don't want the downtime. Sometimes you just never know. You might not be vibing on a particular guitar on a given night. Or sometimes the electronics of a particular guitar won't agree with a given room, whether it be the lighting or the wiring, or just the sound of the room. So it's always good to take a backup, to take a spare, as long as you can keep it somewhere safe. I have played a few places where I've had to leave it in the green room on multi-band bills, and I do not like doing that one bit. Don't even play and you have 6. Yeah, guitars have a habit of multiplying. They have a habit of multiplying. Guitar gear in general. I went to a get-together on a gear-related forum one time. They had a get-together in Atlanta, and I went there, and there was this one guy who brought probably like 7 or 8 really expensive amplifiers, like $2,000 plus boutique amplifiers. And like everybody was playing them and jamming on them except for him, and somebody said, so which one's your favorite amp to play? And he goes, oh, I don't play guitar, I just like collecting. He's sitting there talking about how he bought this new old stock tube to put in it to improve the high end response or something like that, and he thought it sounded so much better with this speaker and this, that, and the other. But according to him, he didn't actually play them, he just had people that he knew play them for him. So you can get kind of bitten by that bug. You can go down that rabbit hole. I don't know. I feel kind of like it's the ultimate sad collector, because you got all this stuff that's designed for like high performance and to sound amazing, but then it doesn't ever really get to be used. It'd be more like if you had, 12 Rolls Royces and you've never ridden in one. You've only watched other people drive them. And like, man, that looks like a smooth ride. It's the ultimate expression of that kind of mentality. Is there's a vintage guitar store down in Miami that also contains the owner's collection of vintage and high end cars that just sit in like the middle of the guitar store. So he's got old Ferraris and Jags and Mercedes and like a Cobra, you know, all sorts of stuff just sitting there in the middle of the store, while also selling, you know, super expensive vintage guitars and stuff. But, you know, that's that kind of market. People for whom it's more about having them, I guess. Ah, come on. Well, at least you got some use out of it. I don't think I could even get in a Ferrari. Alright. Starting to feel pretty warmed up now. Feeling pretty comfy. What shall we do? I did manage to get into Billy Sheehan's MR2 one time. Actually, more than one time. That was always an experience. Rode around with my head sticking out of the sunroof. Well, the other issue is not just getting in, it's getting out. Alright. Let's do something. What shall we do? Shall we play a song? Shall we? We can talk about gear all night long. We can talk about technique. Bring the gain down a little bit. Oh, you want to try to see my action? All right, we'll see if we can. I don't know if this camera is going to be good enough to do it. I should probably unplug it. Hold on. So 12th fret is double dots there. There we go. So it's pretty darn low. This actually isn't the lowest that I have. And this is the high E string side, which will probably be pretty close to invisible, but while we got this out, you can sort of see the sculpting on the back. Now this guy's contoured and weighs nothing. The Reaver guitar, I think, has even lower action than this one. And a couple of the Ibanez's are pretty close as well. I could go get a straight edge. And we could actually measure it. Because I've got one in my toolbox over here. can get my strap untangled. Come on, you. Cooperate. Cooperate. Strap is being a goober today. Oh, man. But I tend to keep basically all of my guitars set up for minimal pressure. You know, requires like no force at all to play. It's harder to do on some though. This has a pretty flat fingerboard, and a lot of the more modern guitars I buy have very, very flat fingerboards, which make that a little easier. You're dealing with something like a vintage style radius, and that's more difficult to do. You have to kind of match the radius, and you only have so low you can go before you run the risk of hitting the fingerboard as it curves, the fingerboard and frets as they curve. Just take some tweaking. I keep my necks pretty close to straight too, like as straight or as flat as I can, which a lot of people can't get away with. Also requires the fretwork to be really good to be able to do that. Because the lower your action gets, the more sensitive your setup becomes to raised frets or uneven fret surfaces or poor crowning. So that's one of the things that I'm pickiest about when I go, like if I'm looking at a guitar in a store, the first thing I do is sight the neck, and if the store will let me, I'll straighten the neck out if it's got a really bad bow. So especially at a place like Guitar Center, a lot of the guitars coming off the wall have never had their truss rod tweaked, and so they've just got like a big giant curve, a big giant bow in the neck. You can see my weird fingers. This is sticking my fingers out straight. But they have a big bow in the neck, and then I pretty much can't play it with that kind of curvature. Because the strings will roll underneath my fingertips, and I don't use enough force to just drive them straight down. So I'll adjust the truss rod if possible and get the neck pretty close to straight. Usually dead straight, like perfectly flat, is not ideal, just because when the neck moves with temperature and weather, it'll tend to back bow a little bit then, and then you'll start to choke out in the middle. But give yourself just like a tiny, 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 tiny bit of relief. But, and then just bring the action down as flat and even as I can. Nah, I can't do that. I can't deal with that high action. Let me go I want to grab the Reaver really quick and see if we can see it in comparison. Because, I mean, this is super low by most people's standards, but the Reaver is crazy. I think it's in a bag right around the corner here. Yeah, I think it's this one. I do believe that this one you can basically just breathe on the string to fret it. Which I was really impressed by. You know, I'd played his guitars and basses before and knew they were made really well, but this one, when it showed up, you know, the neck was all bowed and the saddles were all cranked like all the way up to the top of their travel, and I can't imagine, you know, how on earth the dude was playing it like that. But over a couple days, I gradually got the neck straightened out. Because you don't want to like just crank on the truss rod all at once. You want to give it some time to settle. You know, you make an adjustment, come back the next day, make another little adjustment, and kind of get it to where you want gradually. It's much better on the wood itself. and then started working on setting it up. So let's see if we can get it up here. So I mean, it is crazy, 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 crazy low with minimal buzz. You know, it's probably, I would say, about maybe a ½ millimeter lower than the Parker, which when you're dealing with action this low is a big difference, a really big difference. What that you posting? Getting up into Discord? Whew, good God. Yeah, Alex gonna time you out. Alex gonna time you out if you keep posting stuff like that. Let's plug this one in real quick. I don't think I've plugged this one in a while on the stream. I think one of the pots was going bad on this one, which is why. Because it uses these weird little micro pots. Where's the strap for this guy? Ah, there it is. This has got Schaller strap locks on it. This is a black Limba body, by the way, which is pretty cool, aka Carina, with a quilted redwood top. A maple neck with Wingay stringers and an acrylic impregnated dirty bird's eye maple fingerboard, which makes the fingerboard a lot more rigid. Figured woods, in particular, when used in the context of necks, can be kind of unstable because they're almost all softer than straight-grained maple and straight-grained woods would be. So by impregnating this with acrylic, it makes the fingerboard really rigid in comparison. Good bit darker sounding than the Parker, especially on that neck pickup. And this guitar really wants to be more kind of over here. But yeah, nowhere near as crispy sounding. We can get in like these sort of split coil positions here and get a little more chime out of it. But this is actually, this body shape is sort of designed, kind of this offset waist, kind of Les Paul Telly hybrid is designed to sit in the classical position, so more kind of in the center of your body. You can sort of see that with the bridge position. It's a kind of a general rule of guitar design that if the bridge is more towards the middle, then you need to bring the guitar over to sort of center that. So when your arm comes over, it's right here. So we bring this back this way, we see it starts to dip, like the neck starts to fall and starts to hang a little more perpendicular, which is not necessarily ideal for wrist position. And we go to put this arm over, suddenly we're like way overshooting the bridge. You know, so we bring it over here all of a sudden and it hangs perfectly well. It doesn't dip or dive at all. And the right hand falls over supernaturally. Yeah, I gotta change the pots in this. Let's get out of boost mode. That statement doesn't sound like a binary proposition, man. Sounds like some Bukowski. You're like a beat poet. Almost as interesting as Airplane Guy. Get a kind of thin, funky tone. I think this is like the coils of the neck pickup in parallel. He's drifting a little bit. I gotta think. I need to take this apart and look. I'm betting there's a resistor or something like that on the switch, because this neck pickup goes like, it goes from being fairly bright to really, 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 really dark on the neck pickup. Almost like a tone control is rolled down on it. Like I said, I think one of the pots is failing, so it could be that. It could be a byproduct of that, too. Or just weird pot values. This guy's stuff is a really good value if you're into boutique guitars. You know, they're extraordinarily well made. They play super fast. Finish work is incredible. Like the finish on the neck is absolutely amazing. And usually new, depending on how fancy they are, they're between like $2,200 and $3,000, which for, you know, a handmade guitar with really interesting exotic woods and his own pickups and all that kind of stuff is not unreasonable. But then sometimes he'll just have some sitting around that he wants to blow out, and they'll be significantly less than that. They'll be like $1,500. Then used even better. he makes incredible basses too. He's actually much more well known for basses. But he's from Scotland. Named Alan Cringain. They certainly can be. They certainly can be. This guy has a gigantic collection. There's a really cool video on YouTube of him just kind of walking people through some of his wood collection. And it's amazing. Like, he's got, like, redwood is uncommon for electric guitar, but not extremely uncommon. Like, there are, you know, if you go looking, you can find redwood topped electric guitars. But he's got tons of woods that, like, I've never seen anybody use on anything before. Yeah, I guess I need to update the guitar command too. This is a Reaver RP04 quilted redwood over Carina. You know, but there are some exotic woods that are actually still very reasonably priced just because they're not common. With walnut, it varies. You know, like English walnut and some variants of like North American walnut are actually pretty affordable, all things considered. But if it was like Circassian walnut, something like that, or a really fine piece of Claro walnut, those get insanely expensive. But, you know, just straight up black walnut is usually pretty affordable. Really nice sounding wood, too. I was once at an antique sale with my dad, and they had a piano, a grand piano, where the case was entirely figured Circassian walnut. And, they wanted like $2,500 for it, and I told him he should buy it just because the wood the case is made out of is worth substantially more than that. Let alone the fact that it was a nice piano. But he's a cheapskate, so he wouldn't do it. Sure thing, Rusty. It should be around for a while yet. Should use a picture of a grape for the points. Man, this is a really Frizzell, really Bill Frisell kind of tone. Get some more feedback on the delay though. that's doing is I'm taking the volume and starting with the volume down with my pinky. Then I'm playing this bend, rolling the volume up and then back down. It was a fun little kind of warped blues jam. Christmas out of this. Just ruined the railroad. No. Post it in the Discord and I'll check it out. Yeah, the stuff I was just playing was very very heavily inspired by a guitar player named Bill Frisell, uh, who's strictly speaking a jazz guitarist, but really has done a lot of different stuff like Americana and noise music and all kinds of things. He played in a hardcore jazz band called Naked City with John Zorn. But but he uses a lot of effects and a lot of kind of pitch warping effects, and tends to be sort of minimalist. Like he'll let things sort of develop, you know. So rather than playing a set of chord changes like, you know, he'll play them with a more free kind of time generally. Really? I don't recall seeing it in there. But then again, there's been some. Oh, it's kind of squished in between one of my posts and Rusty's post and the conversation around that. I see it now. Yeah, I'll check it out. But he'll also tend to take chords instead of just playing the chord, you know, a ninth chord like that. He'll make it a flat 5 or something, you know, something interesting. Make it a little more sour and spicy. Switch the pedal off. Wow, we're getting a lot of boost out of that thing. So, if we do, going back to some of what we were talking about earlier with the points, I think the points are going to have to be, if it's something like, you know, change guitars, it's going to have to be like a community thing, because I don't see a way to limit the amount of time between doing it. So otherwise, you could just be getting memed. Somebody like spending 2,000 points or something to make me change guitars every 2 seconds. Because it looks like just looking at like the individual you just want me to scream into the microphone? But it looks like there's no way to really like restrict how often someone can spend points. So I feel like it's going to have to be much bigger things that like everybody spends points on. Still need to come up with some stuff for individuals though. I think I did some stuff with Derek Bailey too, if I recall correctly. I know he did something with a Japanese vocalist who was just like screaming bloody murder like that. We do have a Weeb Wednesday coming up too, this next Wednesday. Yeah, as a general rule, if you're someone who can sing well, you don't really want to be doing the screams. There are a few people who can do both, but they can be really, really, really rough on the vocal cords, especially if you don't really like have the technique down perfectly. So pawn it off on the drummer. Let's see. I'm going to try to set this up. I'm going to see if we can get this to work. Oh, no, these are like long term though. Yeah, all the community ones are based on like multiple days, which is not really ideal. Because, I mean, it doesn't need to be like tens of thousands of points necessarily. We get something going though. What is this mess? Name generator. Make me drop my weapon. You just make me put the guitar away and sit here and stare at the screen. He has the best hat. VOD review? That's not a bad idea if any of you guys are up to it. 10,000 points recommended to have me review your VODs. Basically just tell you that you need to practice more. Let's see. There's more down here. Can't seem to view them though because the scroll bar disappeared. There we go. Suggest a poll. Okay, suggest a poll is a good one. I'm not doing push-ups or sit-ups, nor am I dabbing. Let's see. Twitch related. Timeouts. Suggest a poll. Add time. Why would someone use points to make a streamer play an ad? Unless the advertiser has, like, you know, some intern they've paid to sit around and watch streams and spend points on making people play ads. Add a command. Time another user out for 5 minutes. That could be fun. let's try this. Let's try this. Let's see if this works. All right, so let me edit it. Summer review. Let's make it more expensive. A thousand is not enough. Let's do. Let's do 2,000. And then we'll do. Guitar I play. Reward icon. I don't really have any reward icons. I don't know what to do with that. Need to get a. We'll need to make like a little emote-sized doohickey for it. All right, so I just put up a reward for a guitar change poll for 2,000 points. At which point I will make a poll, I guess, and put a variety of guitars in it. Then change guitars based on what you guys pick. Well, that was quick. Alright, so now let me go see if I can remember how to make a poll. I think I go Stream Manager, Manage Poll, okay. Stream Manager, Manage Poll, New Poll, pick my guitar. Alright, so we have Melanson Telly. We have, let's do, what's something we haven't seen in a while? We have BC Rich Gunslinger. Haven't seen that in a couple weeks. Well, yeah, I knew you were going to, but still. Let's do Fender 72 reissue Strat. Hadn't had that one out in a long time. Let's do some kind of Ibanez, because I've got a whole bunch of Ibanez. And let's do a Harmony Bobcat. Haven't had that out. I don't think I've gotten that on stream before. That might take a minute to find. Let's see. Allow additional votes. So basically, you could, if someone had enough bits or channel points, they could totally rig it. Let's set it for 5 minutes. Is that long enough? 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 10 minutes. Definitely don't need to do 10 minutes. Let's do 5 minutes. All right. So there should be poll up now. For the next 5 minutes. So the Melanson Telly, the one that Graham wants me to play, is the flame top Telecaster. maybe one day I'll figure out how to get like a whole list, like a big giant list of a ton of different guitars, and then, you know, make it really expensive, but then let you somebody spend a ton of points to change directly, like without a poll. But I got to figure out what would be practical there. Can you do that? Like, can I have the poll populate randomly from a list? Because that would be super cool. That'd make things really spicy. Have to get out like a random, like an RNG. Assign every guitar a number in a list. Let's see. Hide that. Wind it down. Well, looks like you got your way. View the results. So you only got 2 votes. So what are the rest of y'all bums doing out there? Alright, let's see. That guitar is over there. Let me go find it. Let me go grab it. Where'd my cable go? There it is. It is a really good sounding guitar. The boost has got a little bit of compression to it. Let's go to this nice bright reverb. And go to kind of a short delay. Much glassier sounding than the previous guitar. It's got quite a bit of sustain for a Telecaster. Oh, this is a song. This is definitely a song. This is, oh, I'm sailing away, my own true love. I'm sailing away in the morning. Is there something I can send you from across the sea? To the place I will be going. It's a Dylan song. It's Boots of Spanish Leather. That particular sort of pattern, though, got reused. I think he used it again for Girl from the North Country and a couple others. this kind of like little movable C shape essentially shows up in a lot of other stuff too, like when the ship comes in. There it is, yeah. Yeah. It's really pretty. It's essentially just like taking the D and moving it up a whole step, which really creates like a D add 11, D add 9 add 11 sound. Yeah, I like him up to about Blood on the Tracks. Like the early stuff from the first album all the way up to Blood on the Tracks is pretty amazing. And then like this sort of 70s and 80s output gets really hit or miss. Some of it's great, some of it's not so strong. And then coming back with Time Out of Mind in the 90s, it starts getting pretty great again. Very, very different from the earlier stuff. I've seen him live, I think, 3 times. First time was amazing. Like it was with the full band. He played electric guitar, and they really threw down. The second couple times though, he was more sort of tired, and the third time he just kind of leaned on his little piano the whole time and mumbled, and it was still kind of cool in its own way, but it was definitely nowhere near as energetic or exciting as the first time that I saw him. This one's pretty easy. It's just kind of like that little C shape. The thumbs are sort of bouncing between the E string and the D string. This is like a C over G, so I'm holding down a G here and then dropping in these 2 C chord tones. And there we go. Kind of like that C shape with an F sharp on top of it. The dude, especially given how much he tours, like it's non-stop. It's crazy that he hasn't just like fallen over dead on stage. You know, the dude tours, 250, 300 nights a year at 80 or however old he is. Very nearly. Willie Nelson's kind of the same way. Just keeps going and going and going. No, dude, Dylan. Dylan, if you go to the early 80s stuff, like Saved and Slow Train Coming, Dylan, remember, joined some kind of Christian cult. Like he got saved at some cult that like converted Jews or something like that, because he's ethnically Jewish, and released like 2 or 3 religious albums. Slow Train Coming has Mark Knopfler on guitar on it, by the way. It has a couple really great songs, like the title track, and then it has some songs that are really, really, really corny. Speaking of Knopfler, this is actually a pretty good tone for playing like. Check my high A a little here. Trying to figure out how to put the parts together. Huh. Here comes Johnny singing oldies goldies. Hey, Papa Lula, baby, what I say. Here comes Johnny singing, I got a woman down in the tunnels trying to make it play. You got the action, you got the motion. Oh yeah, the boy can play. Dedication, devotion, turning all the night time. And after all, now does it go back to the one there? After all the violence and double, da 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 da. You do the walk, da 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 da, do the walk of life, do the walk of life, ba da 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 da, da 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 da. Left-hand pattern on that's really easy. It's like a standard blues shuffle type thing. But the separation in the right hand is kind of giving it all its sort of flavor. Let's get a little darker reverb on that though. Maybe not that dark. So it's kind of playing like the thumb's playing the bass note. And the index finger is playing the up, then flicking down. And that's pretty typical, like the sort of Knopfler kind of stuff. Oh Lord, boy, what have you done? Oh, okay. The title you gave it concerned me. Speaking of Knopfler, this is actually a pretty good tone for playing that. See, he actually played that. That tune was played on his Schecter Telly. That's another thing I meant to ask you guys. Dudes, if you guys get some free time, go make some clips. Knock yourself out making some clips. If I somehow do something cool. Because I think clips always reflect better if you know if the folks watching make them rather than the streamer himself. Problem is that leads to like all of my early clips, which are just them cutting like things that I said out of context to make them sound obscene. Figure out how to put both parts together and see if I can get the rhythm going at the same time as. That's difficult. Because I gotta like dedicate these two fingers down here. But it could be done though. Just a little work. Getting that kind of back and forth with the nails like that is actually really critical for a lot of Knopfler stuff. You know, so even something like, let's get a little more, let's get a distorted tone. That whole sort of pattern is actually just taking the right hand and going. So like thumb, then up with these two, then down with those two. In a certain way it is. Like once you get, in particular the right hand, like once you get down kind of what he's doing and how he's doing it, it's a lot easier than it appears. But getting to that point, getting to where you can get the hand to just sort of do that and then control all of like what rings out with the left hand is the difficult part. Because, I mean, the left hand, if you look at it, it's just starting with like a power chord. Open strings. You know, so it's not quite as complicated as it seems once you get that sort of baseline for the right hand technique. Look at them yo-yos. Play the guitar on the MTV. That's probably a pretty long list, right? There's some there where, you know, it's like, I used to be able to stand them but can't anymore because they're just overexposed. Then there's some stuff that I just never really liked that much, I guess. Yeah, I mean, the graphics still hold up, honestly. Like, it's there's so much stuff, like we were talking about earlier, things coming back around. There's so much stuff that wants to look like that now, that wants to look like early 3D graphics. I mean, heck, look at Minecraft. Popular artists that I can't stand. Do you mean currently popular? Hmm. I've never been I've never been a big fan of all of what Alec would call the post-grunge bands, the bands, the rock bands that were popular in like the early 2000s. So like, you know, obviously Nickelback, but Seether and Chevelle and all of those kind of bands that were really, really huge when I was a teenager and in my early 20s. Could never, never dig any of those. Oh man, I love the Stones. Love the Rolling Stones. Especially like slightly after they started moving out of the stuff that was more clearly Britpop influenced and getting a little edgier, getting a little gnarlier. You know, so albums like Her Satanic Majesty's Request and of course like Sticky Fingers, Exile on Main Street. Let It Bleed. Let It Bleed is an amazing album. Like that time period, that sort of stuff I'm really into. After that, like the late 70s stuff and the more recent stuff I don't care for. And then, like I said, the really early stuff I'm not huge into. You know, it's not as interesting. But just like the real raw rock and roll stuff they did, I can definitely dig. A lot of the like 70s arena rock stuff I never liked much either. So bands like Journey and Boston, those kind of bands, like they have some cool stuff, but not big on them. Yeah, not big on Guns N' Roses, not big on Pearl Jam. Pearl Jam is probably my least favorite of the major grunge bands. U2's hit or miss. I like some U2 stuff. I like the real early U2 stuff. I don't like at all the stuff they did in like the 2000s. Don't like Zeppelin that much, relatively speaking. I like a couple albums a lot, but on the whole, not a big Zeppelin fan. More Than a Feeling. Yeah, I like their worst song. No, that's definitely not their worst song. I actually like some of his guitar tones quite a bit, but never cared for the vocals. Never cared for the arrangements of some of them. Never liked Steely Dan that much. That's one that surprises people. People think that I would be like really into Steely Dan, but I never dug them. I always felt like they never quite they never quite rocked enough, nor they never quite jazzed enough. You know, like they're stuck in limbo. I mean, they have their moments. They were certainly amazing musicians, but like, they just never really connected. Their songs never really connected for me. Zappa's one that's like that. You know, Zappa's band was full of amazing musicians and stuff, but Zappa's tunes always came off as like a little knowingly precocious in a certain sense. You know, like he's writing these songs to be like, haha, look at how clever I am. Look at how weird we're being. and they just kind of ring like a little, and they always rang a little inauthentic to me compared to say like his Captain Beefheart, who is, you know, off in his own world, but fully committed to his own artistic endeavor. You know, but as far as bands doing fusion sides of things, the guys coming more from the rock side to me never quite did it as well as the guys coming from the jazz side. You know, they never quite pulled it off as effectively as Mahavishnu Orchestra or like Bebop Deluxe or somebody like that. I mean, early Beefheart is basically just Howlin' Wolf with weird lyrics. But, and that sort of thread is still there pretty much all the way through his entire discography. It just gets kind of more obscured and more angular as time goes on. You know, even all the way to Dock at the Radar Station with something like Ashtray Heart. You use me like an ashtray heart. What? Nah, late 60s has got a lot of killer stuff. A lot of really important stuff, too. For me, it's like 73 to like 76 or 73, like 72, 73 until punk rock is not exactly a wasteland, but kind of, you know, a little bit of a black hole. I've got it right over here in my stack of records, but I'm not going to put it on stream because then I might get taken down. Oh yeah, there's definitely great stuff going on still. I'm thinking more in terms of like mainstream, like super popular radio music. You know, I mean, one of my favorite albums ever, The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, was what? That was like 75, I believe. 75 or maybe 76. And a lot of Tull stuff, like a lot of great prog stuff in particular in that time period, but wasn't necessarily big radio music. Oh yeah, dude, I mean, that's perfectly normal. I've got like 1,500 or 2,000 CDs on shelves over here to my right, and a whole bunch more in boxes, and a whole bunch of vinyl albums, and God knows how much music on like MP3 and everything. No, Genesis is only good with Peter Gabriel. The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway was the last album with Peter Gabriel. As hard as like Wind and or Trick of the Tail tries to be a legit Genesis album, it doesn't quite make it. And then like 80s Genesis can just go. Take its Disturbed covers with it. Now I kind of want to play that. This is totally the wrong rig. But yeah, I mean, like all the great. We're just talking about time periods and stuff, bands we like and don't like, time periods we like and don't like. Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. There's a lot of like electronic and experimental stuff from that era that I dig. Oh, you got to listen to Noi. There it is. Trans Europe Express. Hey, Rexy, what's up? I only listen to experimental drone made by experimental drones. Feeling like a bass god. Oh, I think I'm bass god. Oh man, that's a tune. That's a song that I would have never expected to have been as influential in its own weird way as it was. The guitar change poll, it got me to change guitars. That's what it is. So we're starting to try to figure out stuff to do with points. And so one of them is, so you can suggest that I start a poll to change to a completely different guitar. I'm going to see if we can make that more interesting, like if it's possible to get it to pick random guitars from like a list of guitars I give it. If I give it 20 guitars to choose from, have it pick 5 for the poll or something. Because that can make things really interesting rather than me picking the poll options manually. I don't know if it's possible or not, though. But yeah, trying to come up with stuff to do with the point system rather than just grape texting. So Grimsworth spent the points earlier to start the poll to get me to change to this guitar eventually, because this guitar won. Grape texting. I was thinking, my original idea was just make it like you spend X number of points and I change to whatever guitar you want. But unless I made the point total really high, that could be like, that could get out of hand real quick. Because it doesn't look like I can put any kind of cooldown on it. You know, I could make it more reasonable. I could make it like, you know, 2,000 or 3,000 points or something if I could cool it down and have it only doable every 30 minutes, you know. But what I don't want... $10K? That seems like a lot, but I also don't really know how much is a lot, relatively speaking. I know Grim said he had like 11,000, and Rusty apparently has a boatload. Yeah. You know, and I may do something like for the group challenges or whatever, like do something where I let the whole chat or whoever vote or spend points to like pick a stream theme or something. Yeah, I could definitely see that being a problem if you've got tons of viewers. We've had viewers popping in. We've been up to about 10 and kind of constantly fluctuating between like 6 and 10 or so, but having a hard time getting the lurkers to post and to say something or to follow. Don't know if I could update my tags better or my title better. Good Lord. $1 million? What does he do for $1 million? I could do some goofy stuff. I could do like, you know, go find a cat, because I've got 4 cats. You know, I could go track one down and bring it in here, and then it would be terrified because there are lights and noises and stuff. But well, one of them might not be. One of them's pretty chill. Huh. That seems like a lot of points to change from casual to ranked. But maybe he just really hates competitive. That could be another thing, I guess. Maybe we could do... maybe we could set up a thing where, like, I play, you know, on a weekend or something. And you guys can pick a game for me with points or something. Oh yeah, I've seen people do, do like 24-hour streams and crazy stuff like that too. Playing guitar takes a good bit more out of you though than playing most games. Yeah, that's... we were just talking earlier about like how to start kind of controlling requests, because we've been getting a lot of people who like make requests and then just like bail. They don't follow or they don't stick around or chat or anything. So making requests like require a follow or require points or something like that might be the best way to go about it. 100K for Dragon Force. The only thing, so the big thing is I don't mind playing Dragon Force or playing anything super shreddy. The issue is how much time it takes to actually learn it and to play it well. Because if you want to, even just doing something like Through Fire and Flames, you probably wind up taking up the entire stream just kind of working out the basic parts. Because there are so many notes. All that business. That would be like the kind of thing where we need to dedicate like a whole stream or whatever to it. That might be possible. Yeah, I mean, I can learn most things pretty quickly. But some of the Dragon Force stuff is solo for 10 minutes straight of all like mega noodly tremolo picks, sweep picking everything. When stuff gets really, really fast like that, we have to take it and slow it down and work it out and go like, okay, well, here's this little thing. Nope, that's the right, no, that's the right note. Unless we can find a chart for it. Now if we've got charts for stuff, I can learn it a lot faster. But yeah, I think you should probably be able to do something like that. You just have to dig into all the features in OBS and everywhere and see what's possible. I mean, I'm always happy for people to make requests. Like I said, what mostly irks me is people making requests and then like I'll play the request for them and then they don't follow. They don't come back. I'm like, dang, bro. Yeah, we had a really good stream Monday. I think we picked up 4 on Monday. So one guy followed like right after the stream ended, which is pretty strong. Then like Wednesday and the previous Friday when we did Free for All Friday, we had probably 7 or 8 people come in and like make requests and then just vanish afterwards. And like I'm happy to play requests, but at the same time like it's got to be a little reciprocation here. Otherwise, I feel like I'm being used. I mean, there's not too complex. Again, it's not really. Automod got you, boy. We could probably learn it. Yeah, we can check it out. Don't stop me now. Da, da, da. I don't remember the solo off the top of my head, but we'll listen to it in just a sec. Yep. Your wings of wax melted. I thought about doing like if we ever get big enough to where we have, you know, substantial donations and stuff, do like the like a lot of the game streamers do, where like if they get enough donations to buy a copy of the game, then they give away a copy of the game. You know, if they get enough donations to buy a cheap pedal or piece of gear or something, then maybe afterwards give it away to subs or something, or donors, or however. But I mean, that's down the road. We're definitely not bringing in that kind of money yet. Daggone it, Alec. Signed guitar picks. Well, so I use really, really, really tiny picks. It'd be kind of hard to sign. You can, though. There are places who will make you picks with like your name or your logo or whatever on them. Then oh yeah, 3D printing picks. That's actually a pretty good idea if you can get decent materials or the right materials for them. What else would be good ideas? I had one. I had a good idea that was just like floating around right on the edge of going like, oh man, that's a good idea, and then now I got distracted and I lost it. I mean, I got a whole box of used strings you guys can have. I can make a stream donation. We could find some way to let people pick specific songs to like transcribe, to actually write out, because I can write them out in Guitar Pro, transcribe a tune for you. That might be a good like group challenge for the points or something. If you guys could agree on a piece. I mean, you could always change instrument too. You could like spend some amount of points or something to get me to change to banjo. If that's something that if the transcription thing is something you guys would be interested in, definitely let me know, because we were doing some of that. You know, I was doing some transcription on screen, but it was a little unwieldy, like it was hard for people to see as I was transcribing stuff live. But if, like, once the new camera comes in and we have a little wider screen and more sort of space to work with, then I should be able to get that going again and do that a little bit more. With transcription, I always feel like I'm not engaging enough because I'm focusing so much on the transcribing. But I do know that, you know, there's that one guy, it's one guy on YouTube, I think, who does it, who streams live transcription, and he gets a lot of views, but I think he's just doing mostly doing video game stuff. Well, I mean, look into it, Rusty. Look into the different materials you can get, because I don't know what you can use with your printer. I'm predominantly use like this Jazz 3 shape, and I like this Ultex material. I don't know what it is. I'm sure it's just, you know, some particular plastic compound. But generally, as long as it's in this shape, I can use it anyway. This sort of shape and thickness. Or I will enjoy using it. I can use anything, but some materials I don't like. I don't like nylon picks, so don't worry about that one. Do a little research. See if you can figure out. See if you can find out like what this Ultex material is. Or something close to it. Ultex, U-L-T-E-X. All right, Rexy, thanks for stopping by. A shamisen paddle? Well, if I can get one. If I could get one, then I would. Yeah, U-L-T-E-X. It's a Dunlop pick. It's a Dunlop pick, so you can go look it up. They'll probably say it's proprietary, but almost everyone who says their pick material is proprietary is actually lying. It's just something from, you know, from 3M or somebody like that. Like even the blue chip picks that are like 40 or 50 bucks a piece are like that. The material they're made from is insanely expensive, but it's actually not a proprietary material. Stuff that's like 1,500 bucks a sheet or something for like, you know, a little 1x2 sheet, but it can be bought. What's it sound like without the boost on? Let's get a longer delay. Which reverb are we on? Delrin picks. Are Claytons made from Delrin? Pretty sure somebody makes a Delrin pick. I know a lot of little guitar bushings and stuff like that in vibrato systems are made from Delrin. Yeah, celluloid's kind of a really classic pick material. You know, gets a little bit of the tortoiseshell vibe. Polyethyramide. Hmm. You know, really, actually, hold on a second. I'll show you guys. Let me go over here to the cabinet real quick. I don't see the other case. Just unplug this for a minute. Tilt this downward a touch. So let's see. You should always amass a good collection of picks, because the pick is enormously important in terms of what your guitar sounds like and how you interface with the guitar. So, as I said, I normally use these little Ultex Jazz 3s. That's probably my most commonly used pick. And then I have the John Petrucci, aka Petrucci pick, which Alec B gave me, which is pretty great too. Then for many years though, before that, I used the Jazz Stubby. This guy, he's a little thicker with kind of rounded beveled edges, but never quite liked the tone so much. I like the feel a lot, but the tone's a little plasticky for my taste. Then for heavy strumming, I use a Gravity pick, which is some kind of custom acrylic type deal. But then beyond that, you know, I've got like some classic Fenders, got some heavy Gator grips, got a felt pick for playing mandolin and bass, got a few nylons laying around. Let's see, cool picks. What's in this guy? I have these, but I hate them. Triangle picks are the devil. If you use triangle picks, then well, you're a bad person and or a senior citizen. Of this one, this ridiculous triangle pick that Keith Watts made for me out of acrylic because he knew I hated triangle picks. And it's pretty brutal. It's super pointy. Yeah, this guy, this is the Stubby. Got some of the 3mm ones in here somewhere too. Then let's see. I've been through a lot of picks in my day. So see, there's medium Gator grip, some more clears. These funky Tortex picks with a little thumb grip on them. Like I don't understand what they're for, but some people apparently really dig them. Let's see. The Ultex flat pick. It's pretty nice. Little teardrop picks. I think I got this from Alec because he probably bummed it from Guitar Center because he likes to bum Guitar Center picks in bulk. What are you? Here's my old Stubby collection. There we go. A whole lot of Stubbies. I don't know if you've ever seen one of these. Have you ever seen one of these? But this is like this is what, the one, is this the 1mm or 1.5mm? Yeah, 1mm Stubby in red. So like a super thin Stubby. So these are incredibly rare. And then here's the big boy, big like 3mm Stubby. You know, Fender celluloid, Fender heavies. Those are good to have around just because of their sound. You know, especially if you're recording, they have a distinctive sound. That's pretty different. These Cool Picks guys are kind of like Claytons, the material of them. If you played Claytons. Let's see. This sounds like finger picks. Yeah, this can is finger picks. Got a lot of branded picks too from NAMM shows, so like an Electron pick, Eventide pick. Got this super heavy weird one. This one feels almost like ceramic, but I don't think it is. It's like a weird plastic. So yeah, this is finger picks and thumb picks. Oh Jesus. Oh Jesus. Star picks with the thumb grip in the middle, which it's supposed to help you hold on to it, but it actually just kind of stabs the meat of your thumb and finger when you try to grip it. So I don't know if these guys are still around, but I don't like them. Let's see. Never figured out what these were for. These came in a case with an old guitar I bought, like 2 or 3 of these guys. I'm not sure why you would ever use this, because they're super flexy. Like if they were really stiff, I could kind of figure out some stuff to do with them, but they're way too bendy. So you try to pick something with it and it just goes like that. It just flies out of your hand immediately. I don't know if they were purpose made for some specific technique or instrument or something. These are Hercos, which was an old brand. I don't know if they're still around. Weird Pick Boy bumpy sucker. It's got like a ton of grip on it. But almost every pick that has lots and lots of grip on it, I find incredibly uncomfortable. Like this has a bunch of bumps, a bunch of like raised bumps, and then on the front has a raised logo too, which is even higher than the bumps. It makes it awkward to hold. That's a band pick. There's another cool pick that's similar to the Ultex. This is a really similar pick to the Ultex, so it must be some kind of material you can get a hold of. That's celluloid. Here's another old Herco. Way too flexible. This Ministry pick, which is like copper. Sounds super clangy. That mace is basically a Clayton. These funny super flexy big teardrops. They have kind of an interesting vibe on acoustic guitar in particular. Here's another like grip pick with a whole bunch of holes punched in it. So you're going to want to go through, you're going to want to try a bunch of picks before you kind of find what you like. I wonder, we might even be able to hear the difference. See if it gets through. Yeah, the closest thing would be that copper pick there. Does Albini, does he use a coin? There's somebody that uses a coin for their pick. Yeah, let's get back to a clean sound. Be easier to hear. Oh, dropped it. Let's go to the neck pickup. Probably be easier to hear there. So that's the Ultex. Let's go to, say, this big ridiculous acrylic guy. Very different sounding right off the bat. Partially because the tip is very different. The tip has a lot more bevel on it, and the string kind of slides off of it instead of snapping off of it. Where'd that metal pick go? Somewhere in the giant pick pile here. There it is. So here's the copper pick. versus the original Ultex. The high end is very different. Very, very different. You try surf with the weird long picks, these things. I don't know if I can even play anything with these things because they stick so far out. Like, one of the reasons I use the small pick is to stay choked up on it so that just the tip of the pick sticks out. You know, so if I'm doing something like that, I don't have to wait on the pick. But with this sucker, like, you can't really choke up on it. You know, like the back part here is as long as the tip of my finger. So even then, you've still got, you know, what's that? 3/4 of an inch of pick sticking out. So even if I try to move fast, it's really, really spotty. If I hold it sideways, kind of get it going then. It's really awkward on the wrist though, because you wind up waiting on it and it catches on the string really badly. Maybe it's meant to get you like maximum brush when you're strumming, because that's one thing that large flexible picks do better, is they get you this kind of brushy sound across the string. If I take my Ultex and I strum, hey Franco Hermes, what's up? And then I do that with the long flexi pick. It gives me this softer, airier kind of sound versus this much more forceful. So if I'm in the studio and I'm recording a track that's going to be just rhythm guitar or just strumming, then I'm going to change to a larger and more flexible pick than I would use for most other things. I wouldn't go with this guy necessarily. It's a little extreme, but something like, let's see, find like a Fender Thin. You know, or a Celluloid. Versus going back to the jazz. You have to be a lot lighter with the right hand with the jazz, with the heavy pick, because it's so much more direct. It pushes the string so much harder. While with this, you can kind of dig in a little more. I wouldn't use it if I were playing like a metal rhythm track or anything, because it's too slow for that, relatively speaking. But for just strumming chords underneath something, especially on acoustic, it's even more pronounced on acoustic. Go to the big weirdo guy. You can hear it's like sort of scoop sounding too. That's about the only thing I could imagine like doing with these kind of long flexi guys at all, aside from sticking them up your nose or something. Don't put marbles in your nose. But every now and then I'll go on a quest, but I'll go back through the pick pile and look for one to do a specific thing. But most of the ones that do specific things I kind of keep out. And I have another little collection upstairs in a tin that are really common ones that I use too. Like this one, this is like an extra thin. So I mean, it's just like paper, pretty much. Gives us this really soft, warm strumming sound. But if I try to play a scale with it, it's so sloppy you can actually hear the pick going like, and like slipping off the string. If I want to pick fast, I have to stiffen it up and hold it right next to the tip. And even then, it's kind of slow compared to... But yeah, you can totally sculpt the sound of your guitar with the pick. You know, so you have to consider what's comfortable for you to use, like what fits your hand and your fingers and the style of music that you're playing. But then also consider how it's going to let the string go, how the pick is going to come off the string, because that's going to change your sound. And then, of course, there's always playing with your fingers. And when you're playing with your fingers, you can adjust how much finger versus how much nail you use. Versus, so like a lot of nail, just bare skin. And you don't need much. Like my nails are pretty short on my right hand. You don't need much though to be able to sort of just adjust your fingertip angle to get it into the sound. Yeah, classical guitarists do a lot of nail work. Some players will even get acrylic nails. They'll go so far as to get fake nails and then shape them just the way that they want them. Because the angle of your hand will affect kind of how the nail hits the string and how it wears on it. And especially with natural nails, you have to keep them buffed and polished and shaped really properly to avoid getting snags. Because I have, back when I played classical guitar more, I have snagged my fingernail on a string when I was playing a steel string with my nails, and kind of like half ripped the nail off, and that wasn't fun. So you got to make sure they stay super smooth. This is the old Dunlop nylon. I don't like this pick much at all. It's a little too round sounding compared to a much better high-end response. Grab the old stubby. This is the 3mm stubby, which is really dark. Standard 2mm stubby. Picks up a hair more high end, and then the 1mm stubby picks up a lot more high end. Versus this one's awkward to hold too. Versus the Petrucci. Then things like the point, the bevel on the edge of the pick, and the sharpness of the point will have an effect too. And and if the edge is rough as well. Some pick manufacturers will make their picks have kind of textured edges, and those grab the string a little bit more and give you a little more bite to the sound than a polished edge will. Grab a random one. Here's just, what is this? Swope Guitars pick. Very similar to a Fender pick. Ultex wide flat pick. Fender Confetti pick, aka the Clown Barf pick. It's pretty classic sounds. It's like a Tortex Extra Heavy. Really interesting thing with the upper mids. Quite a rabbit hole you've got me down, guys. We could always go. Never use these guys on electric, but yeah, God, that's weird. Some people love finger picks on electric guitar. I've never gotten along with it. Never gotten along with it at all. Not even like just the thumb pick and bare fingers. Feels like it pushes my hand too far away. I mean, it definitely gives you more articulation on the bass notes, but crap, now I've got to put all these things back up. The felt pick. As you might expect, very, very soft. Which basically is just a big stacked up 4 or 5 layers of felt. Yeah, cool, Rusty. We'll stop in when we wrap up here. Tonight's been kind of a bust so far as getting new followers go, but we've had some cool conversations. Is that a purple orange? Yeah, Fridays are really hit or miss like that. Just tell them I don't have to be online. They just got to come click the follow button. Yeah, this is normally, this is normally Friday Night Jazz. We could always, let's see, let me go over here. Open with Foxit Reader. Oh no, then I have to save it though. Page down. Go down. There we go. Maybe go to Wave would be cool. Wave might be a little too. Check it this Soldati. That's too long. Let's do a cliche like the girl from Ipanema or Blue Boss. Blue Boss is easy. We could do that one really quickly. Ba-da-da-da. Oh, not quite, not quite. So what we did ba-ba. There it is. Oh, sweet, dude. So this one starts off with this C minor 7 vamp. Which we could also play this way. If we use this voicing, we can really easily convert to like a C minor 9. Then F minor 7 to F minor 6. D minor 7 flat 5. G7. E flat minor 7. A flat 7. So we're just in the C minor scale. Get the Sims flashbacks. Use some nice little octaves. I don't really recall. I haven't played a Sims in so long, I don't recall any of the music at all. Super common change in bossa tunes is when we go from, like, say, a 2-5-1 in the minor key, ba 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 ba, is to do essentially like a form of sub on the 5, where we go from the minor 7 flat 5 to a full diminished, which would essentially be the 5 chord as a flat 9. So like D minor 7 flat 5 to G7 flat 9 is actually equivalent to this D diminished. Da, 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 All right, let's see. Yeah, we're coming up right at 3:30. So let's go. Maybe I should have put in the title, "Don't Follow Me Tonight." I dare you. Don't help me get to 100 followers. In fact, why don't you come in and click the unfollow button? Oh, man. So it goes. So it goes. Let's see. Let me get back to the main page here. So I guess, anybody got any last questions? I guess we'll wrap it up for the evening. We'll go jump into Rusty's stream. Go give Rusty a little support while he plays some video games and print some guitar picks. Bueller. Alright. Well, I guess we'll be saving the Dolphin Shoals sax solo for another night. Yeah, let's go rate him. Check out them. Check out those socials down there if you're not in them. If you're not in the Discord, get in the Discord. If you're watching and you haven't followed, here's the Discord link. You haven't followed, click the follow button. But thanks everybody for hanging out. We had fun anyway. Had a lot of fun chatting and just kind of noodling. We'll be back Monday with Metal Monday, I do believe. So make sure you get your metal requests into the Discord. And then let's go. Yeah, lots of good questions and stuff tonight, which I love. I love answering questions. So let's go. Let's all go jump on Rusty's head. And watch him. I think he's playing Minecraft. Let's go watch him forget to eat for a little while. Say what's up. All right. Thanks again, everybody, for hanging out. And I'll catch you Monday. All right. I think we're ready.